Hey, today we are going to be talking about Paleolithic man and the Paleolithic world. The word Paleolithic, to kind of start off with, means the Old Stone Age. We're going to talk about what the Old Stone Age is. But the people of that time, they were nomadic. Nomadic means they're just wandering around from place to place. They're not settling down and living in one spot. They follow after a food source. They were hunter gatherers, which meant that the men would often spend time hunting wild game. They may follow large herds of animals as they're traveling around. As we said, they're nomadic, so they're traveling around, possibly following these herds of animals and hunting some of them as needed. But they were also gatherers, and often the women would be the ones that would go out and they would gather these wild fruits, nuts, berries, wild plants, and eat them. But the word Stone Age there kind of tells where their weapons and tools came from. They would often find whatever stones they could. They might try to, sharpen them or, beat them down to be able to use for whatever tool they needed at that time. They would also use things like sticks, bones. They would use those types of tools, and those tools and weapons would get stronger over time, especially as certain types of stones were found or discovered, I guess, such as flint. Flint was one of those early important ones that were often sharpened into, sharper weapons. Now, their weapons they didn't really use for fighting each other. Wars weren't something that often happened with the Paleolithic people. They weren't going over to war over territory, anything like that, over any resources, because that just wasn't something they had. So most of what they used weapons for were for hunting at that time. Another thing that flint was useful for was the discovery of fire. It's believed, that fire may have been discovered from lava or, in other natural instances, maybe lightning hitting something. But it was soon discovered that flint and some other stones, friction there could cause sparks to start a fire. And you've seen probably like these survival shows, one that comes to mind is like that Naked and Afraid, where, people go out and they try to survive for a certain amount of time in a primitive lifestyle, and they, have to try to make fire. So fire was something that was an important discovery for these Paleolithic people to live, and they could use that fire for many different things. They use it for warmth. You could go into more drastic climates, cooler climates, and still survive because you can use fire for warmth. Um, Fire was used for light, so you could see at night. It would also help keep animals away at times. A lot of animals are afraid of fire, so fire was good for that. There was even instances where they would hunt using fire. Like there might be a herd of animals and they would chase them towards a cliff using this fire, using the animals' fear of it, and run them off the cliff, and then they could go down and harvest whatever resources from those animals they could get. They could get meat, they could get their hides, things like that. They would cook using fire. Imagine being an early human and going out and hunting and you don't have fire. You're going to just eat the meat uncooked. So fire would help with the taste. With certain foods are unhealthy to eat without fire, things like that. But they could also use them to dry animal hides. They would take these animal hides, put them out, and then they could use the flames to kind of dry those out well, so they could use them for their temporary dwellings that they lived in. These people are nomadic. They're not going to build this large house and then just kind of leave it there, go on down the road a little bit and build something else. They would often try to find something that would provide them with the necessary temporary shelter. Caves were something, that we think of a lot of times. We refer to these people as cavemen. Most of them probably never lived in a cave, but that would have been a temporary dwelling that they could have lived in. It's already there. Hey, let's live in it. You've got some local caves that there's a lot of stories about Native Americans living in and such. So, that would have been something that would have happened. They could have made tents out of those animal hides. They kind of create this makeshift tent that they live in for ever how many days they stay in one spot, and then they move on down the road, going after those herds of animals, harvesting meat again, or whatever's needed there. Or they could simply create some type of a lean-to, take a bank there and put some lumber across it, and have a place to stay there. You might even with that put some animal hides over just to kind of make it more rain proof. But that's pretty much Paleolithic man. These people are going to progress, I guess you would say. They're going to go through what we call an ice age, where the climate of the earth is going to change, the temperature is going to cool, so they're going to have to make these changes to how they live. They're going to have to start, using these animal hides for clothing. They're going to have to develop stronger, or more durable clothing, more thicker clothing, I guess. And a lot of them are going to move to warmer climates. So this ice age is going to have a major effect. And then coming out of the ice age, we're going to move from Paleolithic people to Neolithic people. But that's for another time. Thanks for checking out the lecture for the day. Hope you check out some of the other videos as they're uploaded. We have the other world history video talking about the abbreviations that's uploaded if you didn't catch that. And you can hit that button there below the video and subscribe to my channel so you can make sure not to miss anything. Have a good day.